Okay, and now to our #1 trending story on CBSMiami.com.
It involves talk of alien sightings at Bayside Marketplace. On New Year's Day, there was a massive police response in downtown Miami. More than 50 young people armed with sticks began fighting. Police say juveniles were also setting off fireworks, causing chaos.
So now people are posting online saying that police weren't there to handle a group of rowdy teens, but rather 8 to 10 feet tall shadowy aliens. Conspiracy theories are saying a big creature could be seen standing in front of the entrance to the shopping area, Bayside. Today, the phrases Miami Mall and Aliens of Miami have been among the top 10 searches on Twitter's trending tab. Twitter, of course, now called X. And Google News even has several reports questioning the event.
So we reached out to the Miami Police Department. They issued a statement saying in part, quote, "There were no aliens, UFOs, or ETs. No airports were closed, no power outages." Facepalm emoji was included in the statement. And to read up on the story that has gone viral, just head to our website. It is CBSMiami.com.
Read all you want, but remember, no aliens.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us at 11. I'm Abria Ruffin. Starting tonight off in Valdosta, Georgia, multiple law enforcement agencies surrounded the Valdosta Mall earlier this evening from reports of a possible active shooter. Take a look at your screen. This is video sent in by someone who was at the mall at the time of the incident. You can see people running out as police rush in. The Valdosta Police Department was able to confirm on Facebook that there was no active shooter or any shots fired. Off-duty VPD officers were made aware of a possible fight at the mall. VPD says those involved have been detained. Officials say no one was injured and there is no threat to the public at this time.
Hey, so I'm going to talk for a little bit, and I hope that you guys will take the time to listen. So I think this is really important. Last night, or yesterday evening, I did like an impromptu live stream. And it wasn't anything special. I was just like basically just sitting on my front porch while this storm had rolled in. Really strange storm, came out of nowhere. And I just had this shoes, okay. I just had this deep, strong, like feeling that like there was something happening. The lightning, everything was just really weird. And thankfully I was talking to or chatting with a few of you guys during the whole thing, so it was really interesting to be able to have that context of like, because like I said in the stream, like I experience this stuff a lot. I see these things a lot, and for the most part I just kind of like, it usually folds into my daily experience to the point where I just kind of like, honestly, I forget more stuff than I remember sometimes because it happens so often. And it doesn't have, it doesn't have like the golly gee effect that it used to have. But even yesterday, that was something different. Like the lightning, as it was flashing, it just like, it was like greenish, like purple. And I said a couple of times during this stream, and it's like 2 hours of me just like talking like periodically, and it looks like I'm just like talking, I'm talking to myself in weird broken, but I'm not. I'm like talking to the people in the chat. But if you just look at the video, it's like, what the hell? Who's he talking to? Or that doesn't make any sense. Anyway, but like people saw it and they were like, yeah, it looks really weird. So while I was making this stream, I got a text from my brother who was just like, he's like, stay out of the area where the mall is. Don't go towards the mall. Which I didn't see until after I concluded the stream. So, and I'm gonna include the footage to make my case and make my point. So it'll be included, the news footage from both scenarios that I'm about to get into. And I really want to reiterate, this is very important. And I think it's really important for me because I really think this has something to do with me, us, like what's happening in general. But, so I look at, I YouTube, or I Google Valdosta Mall, because I live in Valdosta, Georgia, in case you haven't figured that out or haven't mentioned it yet, which I feel like I have. And sure as, sure as I'm not going to curse anymore in my videos, I'm going to make an active point not to curse anymore. I was about to say something, but anyway, there was this event that happened at the mall, and it was happening, or it happened right as that storm took place. So like around like 7-ish p.m. And it's a disjointed mess of reports, and they were claiming that there was an active shooter in Valdosta Mall. There wasn't. I'm gonna tell you that right now. There wasn't. Like, which is also really weird, the only footage that is available, I saw two pieces of footage. One was from inside the mall, and you just see like a stampede of people being ushered out of the mall. Okay? The second was from a woman, local reporter, somebody. This was like, I get this. This was not even like local news. This was a person who just had her phone, and she was like streaming in to the local affiliate, which is freaking weird in itself, because I've been around long enough to see situations where, the dumbest things on like the most like minuscule level, you'll have like a person like, okay, Tammy, so, who got punched in the face in front of this store? Well, Bill, it's a crazy story. Like, I've seen that a lot. So the fact that the coverage was relegated down to such a small thing, right? They blocked off that entire area. Nobody could get in. Okay? And again, the reports were disjointed. Some said, like, at first it was like, oh, this is an active shooter. Then it was like, then they issued a statement saying that there was no evidence to lead them to the fact to believe that it was an active shooter event. But there were a bunch of police officers, a bunch of cops, surrounding the mall. I'm getting to my point here. Surrounding the entire mall. Immediately when I saw that, I immediately knew that what I was seeing was an identical event to what happened in Miami about a year ago, which I talked about. And if you can just like get through all the BS involved with it, because there's a lot of like, obviously it was a cover-up, but there's just a lot of there's a lot of pageantry going on. People like, the Miami Mall incident, is it? Like every weird, like they do that. So like you look it up, it's just, but trust me when I say that was a thing that actually happened. And what it was an incursion from someplace else into this place. And it wasn't the kind of event that they wanted to happen. Okay? There were entities in that mall, and these entities, just the proximity to these entities caused people to have strange reactions. Which is so funny, because it's just like, it's almost, and I'm gonna tell you something too, like, if you can, again, I would, I wouldn't really advise it because it's so long. It's like 2 hours of, again, me just sitting on the porch, kind of talking, kind of not. But I remember specifically at one point during that conversation, I'm talking to somebody in the chat, and I said, because, you know, we were talking about like situations that they orchestrate versus situations that they don't. And you can tell when it's something that they don't want to happen, because there's generally less pageantry and more just like, shit, almost cursed again. I'm doing better. We gotta just like close all this off. We're not letting anybody into this area. You get me? When it's something, now I want you to understand this. When it's something that they want, like when it's part of their show and they're doing a thing that they need people to buy into. It's part of the whole pro wrestling thing. They will show it to you. You will get it around the clock, there'll be people at the scene. Heck, there will be people, like you'll generally have like reporters already set up and ready to go because it's been pre-approved. Again, to serve the narrative. But when something doesn't serve their narrative, you don't get anything. They close off the area, they black it out, throw a tarp over it. That's how you know the difference. Okay? That's how you know. This event, and okay, so I was gonna write some stuff down to like keep myself in order, but I'm gonna wing it. This event, like the Miami Mall thing, it is interconnected to these conflicting reports. Okay, it's these reports stating that maybe people were fighting. Like in the Miami thing, it was like maybe there was a fight, and maybe somebody set off some fireworks. So let me get in and just take everything, take all the woo-woo or whatever, throw that all out for a second and just use your mind, use logic. So you're telling me that in Miami, Florida, a fight breaking out at the mall or potential reports of a fight breaking out of the mall warrants you to send literally almost the entire Miami police force? Again, I'm gonna attach the video. You can see it. It's literally a wall of cop cars. And I'm not exaggerating. I'm not being like, it was a wall of cop cars surrounding the mall. That, you know, like overreaction much? Not only that, they initiated a no-fly zone over the mall for a good duration of that whole thing. So 8,000 cops, and you're not letting anybody fly over the mall. I didn't buy it then. I don't buy it now. And again, if you can see, if you have the ability to see, like, you know, I can see stuff, and I don't make any secrets of that. It's so funny because in that live stream, I was talking in the live stream, and I'm just like, hey, you guys see that like tall figure standing off in the distance? And I'm getting like replies back like, yeah, I can see it. It's like between in the darkness, just standing there while I was talking. Yeah. There were reports of tall entities in the shadows. They were they would it's like they were phasing in, phasing out of solid form, because it was an incursion into a non-approved incursion into this reality. That's what was going on. And they had to contain it as quick as they could. The other weird thing, among just so many weird things about that Miami incident, which mirrors what happened. Now, what happened here happened on a smaller level. But that should not take away any of its importance. Okay? Because like in the Miami situation, there's like little to no footage of any of it. A situation in a world, like in the old movie trailers, in a world where everybody has a cell phone, in a world where everybody pulls out their cell phone to record the dumbest stuff. Why isn't there more footage? Why is there not more footage? So, I don't know if this has changed. At the time of me making this recording, it is Sunday, the day after. When I last checked, there was only one video on YouTube, and there was one video, the one I mentioned earlier, with the woman is like doing like cell phone coverage. I had to find that on, I think it was like WCTV, which is like the local affiliate here for CBS. I had to like search for that. Just one video. And two videos, just one video through the news. I had to search for that. The same way, if you look for any footage of that Miami, you'll get like, there's some drone stuff, there's some stuff of people driving by. And then a lot of the footage, because I did my research, because I checked, a lot of the footage that the news was using to talk about these kids, you know, or this fight breaking out, it was from a completely different event that happened a year prior. Not connected at all. Okay, so this is where we're at. And it's just, and again, I just like, I was talking during the live stream, and I was talking about how, like, when things are stuff that they can't control, I was like, it's like the Miami mall situation. I said that in the live stream. Like, it's so eerie that I said that. Like, that was not a mistake. That was not an accident. That was just how things sync up. And I was like, it's just like that situation with the Miami mall. And I'm pretty sure that as I was saying that, that situation was happening at our mall. Now, the only question that I have at this point, well, I have questions, but the main question that I have is, why malls? It's also really funny, too. I'm not, like, the biggest map guy, but I'm pretty sure that it's a straight shot to Miami from here, just going down I-75. So there's that connection. Like, it's a straight shot, I would assume. Valdosta sits really close to the Georgia-Florida border. But it would be essentially like a straight shot straight to Miami. So, you know what I'm saying? What I want to know, though, is why malls? Nothing is random as we would like to think that it is. Is there something that we're not being told about? You know, like, and this is just me spitballing, I don't know. But I've done a lot of research and a lot of reading into things, and you run into the notion that a lot of our buildings Like, buildings aren't just built for fun. They never were. But a lot of our buildings are created to either channel or manipulate energy. Churches, cathedrals, you know. Hell, I was even like, I'm pretty sure I read something once, you know, talking about like movie theaters and how movie theaters are set up and how they operate, in the sense that you're taking people through all of these emotional highs and lows. That's energy. So you would want to place that on a specific grid to, you get me? Like, if we know this is where certain energies are going to be dispelled, hospitals, you know, I was talking the other day about, like, abortion clinics, you know, and it's just like, these are energy points. Like, lots of stuff is going to happen on these energy, you know, all just different types of energy, different types of places. So is there something, and maybe it's because, like, traditionally malls kind of represent that center gathering point that might have something to do with it. I don't know yet. I really don't. But here's what I will say. When I was going back through footage of the mall and just looking at the mall in general, like the architecture, it just randomly just reminds me of, remember that scene in Ghostbusters, where they're in jail for, you know, being frauds or whatever, and Dan Aykroyd's going over, or Harold Ramis is going over the schematics of the building that Sigourney Weaver lives in, and he talks about how, I'm actually getting tingles talking about this, so he talks about how, like, he's like, the architecture is really weird, and then Bill Murray says, you know, yeah, they don't make them like that anymore, and then Dan Aykroyd's like, no, dude, they never made them like this. He's like, this building was created expressly for the purpose of channeling spiritual turbulence. In the movie, and I'm talking out loud. I don't know any of this for sure, but I'm just telling you what comes in my mind. In the movie, they explain that, like, that building, that apartment building, which just seemed like a regular apartment building, it was the place that Gozer was going to come through, because it was built by cultists a long time ago for that exact reason. Now, I find all this stuff very curious, in the sense that I'm always like, I always give thumbs up to anything that scares them. And I mean them in the larger sense, like the assholes that run this place. Anything that makes them nervous, I always want to lean in closer and say, yeah, you know? So I'm not here to tell you, like, what this phenomenon is exactly, in the sense of, like, I don't know, allegiances, whatever. I'm not, but what I found interesting when I was looking through pictures of the mall, and it's funny, it's like, when you know, and you catch things, but I've walked past this mall a gajillion times, and never once did I ever catch the fact that the symbol on the sign for the mall, it's a Masonic square and compass. Like, clear as freaking day. It's like big too. It's a square and compass. Like, they were like really sly with how they did it. really, really sly. Like, I'm pretty sure they were patting themselves on the back, but when you see it, well, that's exactly what it is. And like, I was kind of pissed at myself for like not catching that sooner, but you know, all things in time. That's my motto now. All things in time, all things will be revealed. Anyway, that's my hypothesis. That's what I think is that's what I think happened. That's what I think is continuing to happen. Because, like, again, while I was making that live stream, hey doggo, while I was making that live stream, I was just like multiple times. I think I even said, like, with the lightning strikes, I was like, this feels less like lightning, and it feels like cracks in the fabric of reality. Like the seams being pulled apart. That's what it felt like. And towards the end of the live, and I had been seeing this stuff like earlier in the day, but towards the end of the live stream, I literally pan up over my house, and there was a cloud formation that wasn't a cloud. It was literally like something like pushing its way in. So yeah, that's where I leave you. That's the information I have. I think, again, harbinger of things to come. All right, I will talk to you guys when I talk to you. Everybody has a good day.